I'm going to call this story Grace. It starts with a ridiculously young, handsome man who's living in Germany with his good mate Sebastian, and he had an absolute ball in Germany. And we decided we were having such a good time that we were going to move to Australia. We were going to fly back to Australia together and we were going to live there. And meanwhile, a young, ridiculously good-looking woman in Germany decided that she was going to move to Australia for a year. Two weeks later, she was out. She bumped into Sebastian, who was living with this chivalrous young man. Through that, obviously, we met, and 5 years later, I wasn't happy with where my life was going, and I wasn't happy with who I was. And I'd never prayed that prayer before, but I got down on my knees and I said, God, I need a wife. Humble prayer, and it was honest, because I did need one at the I needed a wife. 2 weeks later, I got a phone call, and Sebastian had died. And it was a horrible time. We were really, really good mates. And I flew over there, and I was standing at his funeral. I was crying, and the reason I titled this Grace is because Grace arrived. In the distance, this woman walked into the funeral, and she was wearing black because it was a funeral, but it was like to me that she was wearing white, I remember it as she was wearing white, and she walked towards me. I realized she was crying too. We didn't say anything to each other at all. We just hugged, and we just wept, and we cried on each other. We were there in that moment, and we looked up at each other, and we fell in love. At that moment, I realized that life can come from death. The thing is we have a real life love story, It's like it could be a movie, but the thing with movies is they don't show the life at the end of it. And we live the life at the end of it. And this is another reason why I titled this Grace, is because neither Alex and I deserve to have each other. I know that's a blunt thing to say, but we're fallible people. We've made mistakes. We made mistakes with each other. Things I'd love to take back. But God loves us so much that He doesn't care. And He gives us to each other anyway. And that's why Alex for me is grace. Grace is giving somebody something that they don't necessarily deserve, but you give it to them anyway. He's given me the most amazing gift that I could ever have dreamed of. I cannot honestly believe it. So I guess the lesson really is that if you give God a chance, then perhaps your wildest dreams can come true.